Welcome back. Today, we're going to take a look at one of the oldest chess puzzles in recorded history. It's White's turn to move and win the game. And trust me, this puzzle has one of the most satisfying endings that I've ever experienced. So let's jump right in. We can see right here that the main problem is that Black is only one square away from promotion. So, I think the first move ends up being a little bit obvious. White needs to play bishop to f3 to prevent that. But here is where the fun begins right away. What would you play here as White after king to g1? If you let Black promote, thinking that maybe you'll capture the bishop and play king to d3 to try and take Black's pawns, unfortunately, that's going to wind up losing you the game. Black promotes, you capture, Black captures, and White plays king to c4. Black then responds with g2, and after king to d5, the problem is that Black arrives on f3. And now, if you take the d6 pawn, Black takes the pawn as well, and White is not going to be able to stop that promotion. So, king to c5, Black would do a very nice shouldering with king to d3, and it's game over for White. Alright, so now that we know that that is a no-go, were you able to find the correct move? In this position, White should actually play this incredible bishop sacrifice here on h1. After Black captures, White is faced with a difficult challenge. He's got two potential moves. King's got to move to either f1 or f2. One's a drawing move, the other one is going to win you the game. Can you tell which is which? If you're thinking king to f2, unfortunately, you chose the drawing move. d5 is going to be the only legal move for Black in that situation. White will then capture, Black moves to e4, and now, whatever you play, it's going to end up in a draw. You obviously can't play g3, because now you're losing. g1 and Black would promote next turn. d6, pawn to e3, you capture, g2 by Black, and now both of you would end up queening at the same time. And king to f1 would lead to the same drawing result. e3, d6, e2, you take, and Black is free once again to move to g2 and unfortunately promote next turn. Now, why are two queens a draw here? Why is it that neither player is going to be able to claim victory? Well, it's because none of them are going to be able to skewer their opponent in order to win the game. In this position, Black is going to play queen to h5 check. And if you mistakenly play king to d3, then this is no longer a draw, because Black has this very nice skewer with queen to d1, checking us, and as soon as we move, he's going to take our queen. But White is not going to make that terrible mistake, and he's going to play king to d2 instead. So yeah, basically, you need to be very careful when avoiding checks not to be on the same file or diagonal as your queen. And this is how you draw in this position. Alright, now let's get back to our puzzle. If you did say king to f1 instead of king to f2, then congrats, you found the winning move in that particular situation. But let me explain why that was the winning move versus king f2, the drawing move. Black would still play the same moves essentially. d5, you capture, pawn moves to e4, and the move sequence seems very similar. Yes, you're correct, the moves are very, very similar, but with one major key difference. When we had the king on f2, Black playing pawn to e3 would be a check, and White would need to respond to that by moving the king. Now, with the king placed on f1, pawn to e3 is no longer a check, so White can move his pawn to e2. Now, even if Black is finally able to give us checks and move their king to clear that promotion square over here, that e2 pawn move was very, very important. In fact, I will be so bold as to say that that move is going to win us the game. Because even if both players now promote at the same time, White will be the first player to move the queen. And that gives a massive upper hand to White. Now here, Black is going to have two possible moves. He's got h2 and he's got g1. But sadly for him, both of them are going to end up losing him the game, though each are going to require a slightly different approach. Let's start with the h2 scenario just because it's a little bit less complex, whereas the g1 variation, Black has this little trap that may or may not save his game. Alright, so king to h2 by Black, we promote, Black promotes, and now it's our turn to play with that brand new queen. But now you're thinking, queen versus queen is a drawing endgame. You already showed us that. I know, okay, you're right. In theory, queen versus queen is a draw. But in practice, things look a little different. This position is actually a win for White. due to the special placement of black's king, right over here, and his queen. White just needs to find a way to take advantage of it. So, your third and last challenge of this puzzle. White's turn to move and checkmate in very few moves. Let me know in the comments if you're able to solve it. Pause the video right here. There's a couple routes you could take, but let me know how many moves you were able to solve it in. Now in this position, there are a lot of winning moves because of king opposition. It doesn't matter from where the queen checks, black's king is going to have to move to the h-file. So let's start with the sequence of moves that's going to give us the shortest path to victory, which is we move our queen to g5. Black then moves his king to h3, queen to h5 for us, black king to g2, queen to g4, king to h2. And now what? So if we continue with queen to h4 check, black is just going to repeat moves. If we try queen to f4, black is going to move to h3. Queen to h6, black is not going to let us capture his queen that easily, so he's going to move to g2. So how do we actually win this game? The winning move does happen in this very position. Let me know if you can find it. I can't give you a hint because it's just going to reveal the entire solution. So I'll just wait a few seconds here. Alright, come on. Tell me you found it. The brilliant move here is king to f2. Now it's an incredible move to put black in a Zugzwang. Black can't move anywhere, and with queen being on h1, black has no way of checking white's king without being captured. Even if he tries to move it somewhere else and attack from behind, black is always going to end up being one move too late because white has a checkmate in one move in 3 different places. So that's the h2 move by black, but what if he plays g1? Now I said he had a little trap that he can set. Well, it's not really a trap, but most likely a blunder by white if he does play it. White promotes, black promotes. And in this position, white would blunder hard if they tried the same move orders. Queen to g5 check would be met with queen to h2, forcing a queen trade and ending the game in a draw. In this variation, white's fastest mate is to start with queen to d4. Black moves king to h2. We move queen to h4. Black to g2, g4, and we arrive at the same brilliant move, king to f2. And as in the last variation, black is in a Zugzwang and can't stop the inevitable checkmate in 2 moves. So yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this 300-year-old chess puzzle and still were able to find it challenging and educational. Let me know in the comments if you managed to solve it without any of my little hints. Have a great day.